What's up, guys? Welcome to Nintendo Power Block. Ed and I are here to discuss. As you can see, we are in the direct recap box. Because we expected a Nintendo Direct this week, right? And
Yes.
we didn't get one, but we want to talk about like what makes a solid Direct. And this isn't going to be a long video. And I know sometimes we say that and it ends up being like super long or whatever, but this really isn't going to be a long video. We just kind of want to kind of talk about what we like about Nintendo Directs and what makes a good Direct. So, Ed, I'm going to kick it over to you because you like I watch Nintendo Directs, but you like really watch them. You watch all three versions of the Nintendo Direct. You'll watch
Yes.
the US version, the Japanese version, the European version, take notes on all of them, watch them like 3 or 4 times. So what makes a good Direct to you?
What makes a good direct to me is how detailed the games that they're going to be talking about, like giving us some good info. Actually seeing the game play in motion. I talk a lot about E3 for PlayStation and Microsoft. That they always keep showing these trailers that doesn't represent the game that you're actually going to be playing or getting. And Nintendo just presents to you, be like, hey, this is what it is on 3DS or 2DS. This is what it is for our Nintendo console. This is the game. Uh, because they got into the mobile division, they have expanded it to the mobile direct, or definitely not, since they're big on indies, we get the Nintendo direct. And like Corey said, I watched the UK version, I watched the Japanese version, because they have different things that's announced in those directs that we here in America don't know or are not expected to come over. But if you're into importing, you might want to go take a look at that game and probably pick it up. And plus, I love the fact that, you know, the past ones with Iwata kind of made us happy, made us laugh, kind of made us joyful about it. And the marketing for these games just work, because even after the direct is done, we talk about it. Regardless if they didn't meet your expectations, they didn't meet your predictions or something, these directs are solid because they just give us something to look forward to, so we could plan out how what we're going to spend, or we could discuss games that is coming to our system that makes us now be like, okay, I'm hyped for this. I'm hyped for this amiibo. This is my anticipation and stuff. And if you guys want to talk about the memes that's been added on on Twitter and social media, uh, for the Nintendo Direct, you can also add that. Like, it just gives you a good feeling that when you come into it and when you walk away from it, you just be like, wow, that was really good. And we kind of talk about why we want to see Microsoft with Inside Xbox do the same thing, or why we want Sony to do this, is because they could deliver the control content in their own way, but still make it fun and have us talking about those games.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And
you know,
yeah, and like Nintendo has been doing the directs for a while, right? And
yeah,
since Satoru Iwata passed away, like they've kind of taken a new approach to the directs, but what I really loved about the old directs was just like the interludes with Iwata and him having like this real personality with the directs, and with the bananas, or like
yes.
the Mario or Luigi hats, or like just like the weird things he would do in between that like just brought joy. It kind of like, we think of executives all the times as just like these guys who sit upstairs in suits and count pennies and push papers and stuff, but like he was someone who, in most of Nintendo staff does this too. The faces of the company and stuff. Like they do things that humanize them and really make them they become relatable in a sense, and it really
Mhm.
it really brings a new light to them, and it's just fun to watch, and that's what I think, like when Reggie was doing the workout video, right? That was funny,
Yes.
or when Iwata and Reggie they were gonna fight each other when they announced Smash 4, right? It was just, or even like the Star Fox puppets or the Robot Chicken stuff, like that was hilarious.
Yeah.
And man, I want one of those Star Fox puppets, by the way.
Yeah. And they changed it up, and regardless of how you do it, because a lot of people just like, well, that Nintendo Direct wasn't good, or I'm just like, because it might not meet your expectations, they give you a lot of information for games that is coming to the system. Go check out me. I keep going back to the Bethesda stuff. We did not expect Doom and Wolfenstein 2 to come to Switch.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, like, in terms of Bethesda support, like, Skyrim, yeah, that's one thing. But, like, Skyrim's just, like, that's the game that they port to everything, right? I mean, they're basically making a mobile version of it with blades. But, with, like you said, with huge titles, big, graphically intensive, frame rate intensive titles like Doom and Wolfenstein. Like, if you want to see what they look like, we have quick looks up on nintendopowblock, right, of Doom and Wolfenstein running, and like, maybe it's not the preferred way to play them, but if you have a Switch and you want to play these games on the go, these are fantastic versions of those games, especially Wolfenstein. After Panic Button learned the engine, and they actually put that stability patch out for Doom like literally 6 weeks ago. And Doom's been out for a year already, so
right.
It just shows like this little machine can really do a lot. I know. I should put my blue ones back on.
Dude, I was thinking about ordering those from Amazon, and I was just like, no, I need some other stuff.
Yeah. But I. Like, for me, like, I really like the new structure too. It's as much as I love the old structure, with the fun gimmicks and stuff. Like, what's his name? Who kind of leads the directs? Kazumi. Yeah. He has a presence. He has he's fun, but it's like a more, I guess, quote unquote, sophisticated fun, but he still like has fun with it, like with the Switch reveal event and him putting on the Cappy hat when Mario Odyssey came out, but it's still more structured than the original. I like when they lead off with I like when they lead off with 3DS and Switch games that we know about, and do like 30 to 60 seconds of like, here's the release date, here's a new trailer, here's gameplay, whatever, and this, and then that they'll go into. Usually the first game they go into after that is something that we don't know about or know something very little about. And that's always exciting. Like when we were, what was the last direct? When Luigi's Mansion, right? And it's like,
yes,
Luigi's Mansion, another Luigi's Mansion, sweet. And like it was around the time when the 3DS version was coming out. Right, and I messaged you, I think, and I was like, "Man, Luigi's Mansion looks really good on 3DS," because I thought it was the 3DS version, and then they're like, "Nope, Luigi's Mansion," and then they had the little purple 3 pop up next to it. I was like, "Oh my gosh, they're making a third game!" Oh my gosh,
I was just like, "Wait, what?"
I know.
I was taken back for that, and it's those moments that when it's unexpected, like, everybody was disappointed that they didn't show Animal Crossing at E3. Well, we see the reason why. They had Isabelle coming to Smash, and they connected it to Animal Crossing. Now, they could have said Animal Crossing 3DS 2019. People would have been happy. But people would have been disappointed, like, oh, they should have put it on Switch. But it was just like, yeah, this game's coming to Switch, and you could see people's reactions. Who love the Animal Cross series? They're super happy
Yeah.
and stuff. Um, you know, even when we get dedicated now directs like the Smash Direct, the Fire Emblem Direct, um, Dragon's the
Dragon's
woman,
Dogma,
not Dragon's Dogma,
Dragon Quest.
Dragolia,
Oh,
uh,
Dragalia Lost, the mobile game.
Dragolia Lost. Yeah, it's like people took their time out to watch this, and it's people, gamers around the world, regardless of you're a fan of Nintendo or not, what system you are, whether you're a PC player or stuff, you're tuning in with everybody. And it feels like this is E3 continuously going on.
Yeah, yeah, the directs just prove like, we see a little bit of this. We saw this kind of when Nintendo started the directs, but now that Sony's not going to E3, it just proves that like these directs can kind of say, hey, we can have E3 all year long.
Yes.
We space it out, and like I think the most, I don't want to say the most disappointing, but I think the most underwhelming Nintendo Direct was the E3 Direct, because we got the mini one in January that announced all these great games. We got the one in March that kind of dropped a bunch of stuff. We got the two different Smash ones. We got the one with Animal Crossing and Luigi's Mansion. And then, we got the E3 one, which was like, it don't get me wrong, I was super excited, and we saw like Fire Emblem footage and stuff, but like out of all the directs last year, it wasn't my favorite, and that just then like the directs have the power to do that because they're concise, well-produced videos that deliver a lot of information in a small amount of time, and they give you exactly what you want. And it's not these big E3 presentations where, I mean, the big example is like the Uncharted 4 demo that they had to reset on stage, or you don't get nervous developers who aren't trained to be public speakers get out there, and as endearing as it is, like the developer of Unraveled, when he got out there and was like really nervous that first year to announce his game, and like as endearing as that is, like these well produced kind of small video packages are like they're great for delivering the information we want to see, right? And that's why I love the directs,
And E3 is a hit and miss. It's because when we see E3 2016, we were excited. Like they killed 2016. We all lost our minds when we see E3 2017 because they were just knocking it out the park.
Yeah, because they were like, I mean, what was the big thing at E3 that year? Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I think, was the big thing.
Metroid Prime.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Metroid Prime 4 was announced, like the logo.
And then after Metroid Prime, like everything showed what they was going to show for E3.
We got Samus Returns.
Samus Returns. It's just like, wait, what is going on and what are we watching on Treehouse Live? Like, we were blown away just by some of the smallest stuff. And just like you said, Corey, having the content controlled and everything, it works to us. And that's why I say that it depends if you like it or not. Because I don't even think last year's E3 presentation was bad. I got Demon Ex Machina. I got, everybody knew the focus was on Smash, so they was going to spend more time on Smash. So that was like a major portion on it. And they had a little bit comedy bits and showcasing, hey, when we said ultimate, we're throwing everything in, and people didn't expect it, and people still get excited. Like look at the Game Awards when Joker got announced, we were just like, Joker's in Smash. Look at Team Ninja and Nintendo are doing a Marvel game.
I know who. Like out of the three like least likely partners are doing a Marvel game. Like when Sony and Marvel and Insomniac announced Spider-Man, right? We were like,
right.
Well, that makes sense because Insomniac does fantastic games and movements and gadgets and stuff. Sony owns the movie IP, and Marvel is like, yeah, why not? Like that whole trio of partnership makes sense. When you put Nintendo and Team Ninja, who's been knocking it out of the park with Neo and Neo 2 coming soon, to PlayStation. And like, Ninja Gaiden's kind of revered, and they did the Metroid Other M game, which a lot of people don't like. I don't have
Hyrule Warriors.
I don't have a problem with it, but like them doing a stylus action Marvel Ultimate Alliance game that's probably going to be multiplayer and just I think it's going to be cool. I think it's going to be a cool experience.
I think the thing that threw everybody off was just like Nintendo Switch, the little connected controller sound effect. Mm-hmm. Stay red, Marvel. What is this? It did just see it, and like he was just like, "Is this Ultimate Alliance 3?" I was just like, "I don't know, but I'm confused." And then they announced it. You were just like, "Whoa!" It did. It just
like my first thought was like, okay. At first I was like, are they? Well, the first thing they showed was like the Guardians of the Galaxy stuff. I'm like, are they bringing Telltale's Guardians of the Galaxy over to Switch? I'm like, because that was announced for Switch a while ago and they never brought it over. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Like, okay, I don't know who's publishing it since Telltale doesn't really exist anymore, but that's cool, I guess. And then they started showing like the Avengers. And I'm like, wait, is this that weird like cell phone fighting game that they're porting over to Switch? Because that would be a really weird thing, because it kind of had that art style that what is it, Marvel Strike Force, I think is the cell phone game. And then I was like, this can't be Marvel Ultimate Alliance, could it? Because like I said it out loud on the watch along, like I was like, this isn't Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, is it? And then they showed Wolverine, and then they showed them all together. I'm like, this is going to be Marvel Ultimate Alliance. And then they showed up, Marvel Ultimate Alliance. I was like, oh my gosh. They made
exclusively for it. This is an intro to a Nintendo Direct.
I know.
Like stuff like that, you like, wait, what is going on? This is insane. And don't forget, everybody, Square Enix is supposed to be making a Marvel game. So I'm just like, is Nintendo and Square Enix, this is why they haven't been talking?
Yeah. And when this posts, we're going to have a next Direct prediction show, and we'll get more into that on that. And I know, like, the Ultimate Alliance thing was technically not a Direct, but, like, our point is like, we're going to wrap up in the next couple minutes, but, like, my point is, like, Nintendo never fails to surprise us on some level with something, like, whether it's something small like Luigi's Mansion or the big Metroid Prime 4 logo or, a Xenoblade Chronicles 2 out in December, like, and they stuck to it. Like, they just never fail to surprise us. And, whether or not all those games hit or not, that's a different story. But, like, when they announce stuff, it's exciting, and that's why Nintendo Directs work, and that's why we love them. And, like, we ask ourselves what makes a good Nintendo Direct. Well, a great, solid kind of like sizzle reel kind of beginning with games we already know about, information on games that we know about and release dates in the middle, and ending with the major surprise. Those are kind of like what makes a good Direct for me. And Nintendo delivers. For me, Nintendo has not really... Let me put it this way. Since the Switch has come out, the Nintendo Directs have not failed me yet.
Correct.
And even with the Wii U and stuff, like, those Directs weren't any small task either. I thought a lot of them were great. So, but any final thoughts on Nintendo Directs, Ed, before we get out of here? And
the Nintendo Directs make me scream out, wait, what? Like, I literally, like, even though I rewatch everything and take notes and stuff, try to do recaps for Optional and for Pablo, I'm literally in the chat with everybody. I'm literally on Twitter. I'm like, I'll hit Corey up first before I talk to anybody else. I'm hitting Corey up and be like, dude, they just announced this. They just announced this. You was driving and you called me, and we were just talking about stuff. Like, we literally could have did a podcast over the phone.
Yeah, if that was available, we probably would have, to be honest with you.
But
I mean, to be honest, I think if Ed and I could like if we could live off of just podcasting, I think NGR Radio's Twitch channel would be alive 24/7. It would literally just be us about 80% of the time just podcasting, and it wouldn't even really be about anything. It would just be just us talking about games because, like, you know, that's what we do. That's our thing.
But just like you, Corey, it's just like the Nintendo Directs are just exciting to see. People still do prediction shows, like we do reactions and stuff. I mean, it's just not only great content to record and discuss, but it really feels like a community across the world when everybody's talking about this game, good or bad. Someone's talking about these games, and sometimes it's a guaranteed sale, and the companies want that guaranteed sales.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So this is kind of like a one-off video thing. It'll be under the direct recap section of the website on ngrradio.com and under the direct recap playlist on youtube.com/nintendopowblock. Come subscribe and share if you like what you see. You know, it's a good time over here at Nintendo Pow Block. You can find all of our direct recaps usually the day of or the day right after the Nintendo Direct. Ed and I usually do a reaction to it, and you know, it's fun, you know, because it allows us to be excited about things that, you know, sometimes we get excited about things that we kind of want to happen, but when things happen, like this just allows us to do that. So come subscribe to Nintendo Pow Block. Also, you can download Nintendo Pow Block podcast every Tuesday at 7 a.m. You can subscribe to that on your podcast service of choice. I'm hoping to get it up on Spotify soon. Not sure how that's going to work out yet, but we're working on it. I know it's been requested, and we're trying. But you know, RSS feeds cost money if you don't know how to make one, and guess what? Don't know how to make one. So, anyways, so thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to subscribe, smash that bell so you get notifications on every video we post. And until next time, we love you.
Bye, everybody.
Enjoy the next direct. Woohoo!